Okay, thank you for joining us today. We know that the first presentation of a Friday morning is always a little bit struggling, so really appreciate it. My name is Diego Landro. I'm a manager of business supply responsible for the delivery and application maintenance of OTM projects. Today with me there is Francesco Atella, operational lead for the 4PL services in Stante, and today we will tell you about the journey that Stante had in the last years with the OTM project. Okay. So I need to look at the agenda. After some brief company presentation and focus on the 4PL services, we will tell you about the initial project and the review of the needs that we had with the customer. After that, some highlights on implementation, and finally some thoughts together on how this journey went for them. Let's start with business supply. Business supply is the reply company specialized in the delivery of Oracle application, in the system integration of Oracle application. We have more than 30 years of partnership with Oracle and 160 consultants specialized in SCM, ERP, HCM, and also CX implementation. Regarding the OTM practice, we have 40 specialized consultants dedicated to that, more than 50 years also here at the SIG, and hundreds of projects delivered, and 25 plus customers active in worldwide. Francesco, please.
Good morning all, and thanks Diego for the introduction. Let me introduce a little bit Stante company. So Stante is a private Italian company acting since the 1973 as a freight forwarding, providing freight forwarding service and end-to-end transportation and logistics services. Stante is present in Italy in 6 different site locations and is operating worldwide in 62 different countries, counting in a network with our partner. Stante is managing every year about 250,000 of shipment to the different business unit that we are managing. So that is the overland, the overseas, logistics, and custom. The aim of Stante, the behavior of Stante, is to establish a long-term relationship with our customer based on the trust and the transparency. And also we keep continuing growing and accepting the continuous challenge from the market and anticipated the demand. But let me open a little focus regarding the 4PL service. So, talking about the 4PL logistics. As a 4PL control tower, we must provide centralized visibility and coordination for all the supply chain, integrating the data and managing all the partners. This to enable fast decision and also optimize performance and the efficiency on the transport. Regarding the key aspect of the 4PL, we have the end-to-end supply chain orchestration, so the ability to coordinate the entire flow from the supplier to the delivery. This across all the transportation warehouse, custom, and also distribution activity. Then we have a different service in our portfolio. We are leading different flow from inbound to outbound, finished goods and raw material. This is in all the EMEA region using different transportation modes. So we are shipping both with road, rail, and ocean shipments. Another aspect really important about the 4PL control tower is the real-time visibility and also counting on advanced analytics. As a 4PL, we must provide fully visibility of the shipment, but not only at track, only at shipment level, but also at product level. So we are able to look all the inventory in transit, providing also the correct priority, and support also all the action needed to make it to avoid out of stock, for example, and to speed up the delivery in the market. And another aspect regarding the 4PL logistics is the scalability and the flexibility that we should have. So the ability to adapt quickly to the demand fluctuation, peak season, and also new market. This is also a critical requirement for our customer that we are managing, that is provide more than 35,000 shipments per every year.
Okay, so a little disclaimer, okay? This is not just the tale of a project. We want to tell you about the journey that Stante did in the last year, letting you know the whole experience, okay? This is not just a project. Obviously, the first phase was the initial project. The live was expected in 24. Consider that for a 4PL service provider, the TMS is the core application, is the one on to you build your services, you sell your services to a customer. Stante had a very old custom legacy systems. These at the time meant a lot of things. For instance, an obsolete user interface, limited capabilities, but also basic services, high dependence on custom solution made by the IT departments, and also fragmented processes, because much more of the work was done offline, okay? And yeah, not for all inadequate security standards. So at new TMS platform was absolutely necessary to future-proof the company, and OTM was the right choice for that, because it offered a new set of potential functionalities together in one platform for all the informed parties. So Stante with the operations, the customer, but also the carriers and the suppliers. New tools for performance monitoring and decision making, together with the ability to share data with the customer, okay? And not, again, not for less, but security and scalability that is secured by the Oracle Cloud. So the first project started March 23rd after our organization of Stante operations. Consider that in the meantime, in the same time, Stante had also a transformation project for the ERP. Okay, so we did that at the same time. As OTM modules, we use principally the transportation management and the operational planning, together with the integration cloud and the autonomous transaction processing for some custom solution that we made. We used a recursive waterfall methodology with decreasing gaps, and the many areas that were involved were the order management, the planning with the rates, obviously, and finally the execution with a strong carrier integration. Key winning factors have been a strong show and tell since the beginning, which allowed us to have easier change management with the user, and also, and this was a strong choice to move in the existing processes toward the new TMS for reducing the risk. Okay, so few, let's say, new functionalities have been added at the beginning because strong operational changes have been done. Okay. Main outcomes in all the phases, in all the process tasks. So before, orders were inserted manually. Now we are inserted with an upload file via integration with an Apex application we build. Overall, all the setups that before were done manually by the user are now managed principally by standard functionalities like as the auto standard rules and the order scheduling OTM. The shipments were previously also created manually with rates assigned manually, now are created obviously with the OTM planning. All the rates are available within the product, and the automation workflow is a lot the communication with the carriers, both for integration and for notification by email. The shipments assignments and also the tracking were performed principally offline with mail exchange and file. Now there are lots of carrier integration, and for the, let's say, appointment part of the work, specific dashboard have been created using the doc scheduling GANs. Finally, the month closing was performed moving files from the previous TMS manually to the previous ERP. Now there is an integration to speed up and, let's say, ease a little bit this part. We leverage the integration cloud for it, and also use the transformation XSL within OTM. So the first part was the initial project. We went live in Q1 2024, but after some months, the users were a little bit more conscious of what the process was in OTM and what was needed to them, maybe, because something was missing. Francesco, please.
So, I am the user that asked for some update. So a critical review was needed from the initial project. So with the new platform, some aspects were needed to additional review and actioned. So few improvement, a new capability to enhance opportunity and provide additional value to our customers. Some part of the process was still missing due to a different application landscape. New capability provided that in the initial project was uncovered. This mainly for the inconsistency behavior by the carrier and also lack of information from our customers. And the differences generated between the expected process and the effective results.
So you can imagine the struggle from a system integrator point of view, because we were live, the functionalities were all there, but something was missing. The customer was not really happy about that. So the extensive perception was that we should have been at the top of the mountain, but maybe we was at higher, I don't know, halfway, okay? So we started an analysis, a detailed analysis to again understand why something has not went how was thought before. So we understood with Francesco and the team that actually the first project is not the final destination, just the first part of it, okay? And why? Many reasons for that, and this is just the, let's say, the Stante part, but can be a general perception, okay? So actually extensions were really needed for the process. There were lack and quality of the shared data from carriers and also from the customers that were coming within OTM. There were company organizational aspects that impacted a lot on the project itself. And finally, maybe some old process needed some evolution to ease a little bit the operation. So we understand that the journey should have continued in some way, and we identified the new areas of intervention for that. So the order management, despite it is still done manually, but with a carrier, with an integration with an Apex application, should be fine. But for the planning, we had a specific scenario that was quite struggling OTM. So you should imagine that sometimes Francesco knows that I don't know, a truck is not the destination, but should come by the deposit just when the truck is there. So this is a scenario that you need to manage. From the monitoring of the carriers, they understood that was harder than expected, and also the notifying the issue to them was very hard time consuming. Finally, the invoicing process, despite was easier than before, was causing a lot of manual work, not in OTM, but in the new ERP, so needed to be changed. So this is why they signed a new phase of the project together, that is the phase 2. We started it in Q1 2025, and we tried to solve each of these issues with specific development. Okay, so for the ghost stops, we find fortunately some new feature which has been added in the last version of OTM to divert and dust stop during the planning, which helped us. So now this is solved. For the carrier, we designed a new process. We'll talk about later in the implementation highlights with dashboard dedicated to the tracking. All of this is standard. Okay, so it is done with the data visualization and with the milestones that are available in OTM. Together with this, we also implemented a claim management that is triggered by the tracking, of course. And the invoice process was completely redesigned with a new, we call it pre-invoice process. So now carriers receive a file, accept what is paid to Stante, and after that the approval process is mover. So some features are everything is released in prod, but some features still need to be used. This is why operations need any way to absorb that. Okay, and we understood together that anyway this is a continual evolution, and there is no way to do this in OTM, maybe in a simpler way. So now I would like to focus a little bit on some implementation highlight that we had. As you can imagine, we had space to go from the order management till the pre-invoice process. So we selected here something that is more, let's say, out of the standard, or anyway, how we use the standard functionalities of OTM to do something that maybe the program was not used for, okay? Regarding the transport orders, consider that Stante received that principally by emails from the small plants of their customers, or downloaded that from a customer portal. In the first stage of the project, we pushed a lot with Francesco to have an integration with this customer's portal, but for many reasons that we're not discussing now, this was not possible. So we built an Epics application that is dedicated to that for managing all the order flow, which Stante manages. So very simple. The user can download an Excel file, compile it, and upload. After the upload, can monitor how many orders have been processed. This is not only used for the creation, but also for the update of the orders. Consider that once that Stante operation received the orders, after the shipment is shipped, the customer declare which goods are on the shipment. So for the tracking of the items, as Francesco was mentioning before, it is really important to have these updates in OTM. But I think that this one is maybe one of the most interesting. So a few months after the go live, the ingestion of tracking events in OTM was a real problem. Okay, so despite many tests performed with the carrier and months spent for testing, there were a lot of errors in production. And when I mean errors, I mean transmission in errors, okay? Unexpected transmission in errors. The timeline of the events was not respected. A real example, a delivered received after a picked up, and time zone were not correctly managed. consider that Francesco had shipments that were really delivered, but seems not to be delivered because the time zone was not correct. This was a real issue also for their KPIs, okay? So we try to design a sort of template process for monitoring the single checking events, for having a better state of the art, leveraging the milestones and data visualization in OTM. So the idea is this. After the tendering, a first milestone is kicked for each of the events that we want to monitor, okay? For checking the event on the shipments. This milestone is kicked 12 hours after the shipment reference date. I mean, for different tracking events, you may have different dates that you want to reference for understanding if the timeline is respected as you wish, okay? If this doesn't happen, a claim is created and another milestone is generated. This second milestone is kicked each day for checking the creation of the events. There is a limit, obviously, for that. After 30 days, there is a cutoff, and okay, if you didn't send me this event after 30 days, maybe we will not send at all, and okay, yeah, we can close the discussion here. So this is managed for different events, going from the departure from source until the delivery, and the claim are created with an auto transformation. So after the first milestone is kicked and finds that something is not good, no, an auto transformation of the shipments create automatically the claim in OTM. Overall, the checks that are made each day are also materialized both on the claim and the shipments for a successive visualization on the dashboard. So the monitoring finally is done through the data visualization in OTM. Finally, dedicated process, something that before knowing Francesco, honestly, I've never heard of. So raw materials are orders that are not managed directly by Stante, okay? So the customer has rented truck and drivers which are managed locally. So if we have 5 plants, each plant has its own drivers and trucks, and I don't know, do stuffs, whatever they want, okay? Transport orders are received by Stante after days, not by the customers, but by the carriers. So there is a sort of self, I don't know, declaration of what the truck is, what the truck has done. Obviously, this is checked by the customer, but it's the carrier that sent to Stante what happened in those days, typically twice per month. And there is let's say, a tricky daily rates to be maintained, okay? So Stante need to guarantee to the carrier that there is a minimum rate per day for that truck to be granted. So if you have a shipment that goes from point A to point B, no, that costs 100 euros, but the daily rate basis minimum was 300 euros, you need to pay 300 euros per day. Doesn't mean at all how many shipments did you perform, okay? How did we assign this? Okay, order creation, easy. We have the Apex application, any issue about that. The shipping creation is done manually by Stante. This is just for, let's say, twist the operation. There are hundreds of orders which are backplanned together. The plan is quite easy and is to speed up a little bit the resolution of issues like missing rates, okay? After the shipments are created, an automatic process group the shipments in shipment groups. So we assign the concept of daily basis to the automatic creation shipment group. I don't know how many of you are, let's say, knows what the shipment group is, but are more useful maybe for the ocean processes, to consolidate. We use that in this case because we find it useful. And on top of this, we created a secondary charge, okay? So this is all, we'll see that in a slide. This is all done by standard functionalities in OTM. These are all rules. after the secondary charge is created, starts the, let's say, the workflow labor. So we compare the cost of the shipments associated to the shipment group with the cost that is the daily rate minimum. And this result is saved on the secondary charge, which after that is rated. So we associated the, let's say, the rest of the cost which should be assigned to the carrier per day to the secondary charge which is on the shipment group. Okay, this could be zero, because if you perform the minimum rate per day, this cost will be zero. And here are some, let's say, highlight of the configuration. This is the shipment group rule with the secondary charge rule at the bottom, the secondary charge with the simple configuration which is done on top. And here, two shipment groups with different costs assigned. So this one has a zero cost because the minimum rate, the minimum daily rate was reached, while this one had a cost because the daily rate was not reached. Okay, so now I would like to have some, let's say, some thoughts on the experience for the 4PL process that we implemented with you. Starting from the go live, we want to stress this out. So the go live is the starting point, not the destination. This because limitation in organizations, operation can bring to you a gap between the functionality release and the factory results that you wish to have, okay? Control of having more visibility on the operation doesn't mean you have more control on it. In fact, in the first month, you could incur in issues that you didn't know you didn't know before. An example, a clear example, was the tracking that Stante didn't expect to have so much issues in it. For reducing the workload, you need to leverage automation as much as possible. We are in the AI era, so no more to say about that, but the things that 4PL users can and must focus on important matters, so to have a higher efficiency and quality. Maybe the AI agent that we saw before, I think we have a demo today for that, may help a lot on this. You also need to have a mental shift in the offered services. What does it mean? So using OTM must be a leverage to offer a service, but the point of view of the customer is not your point of view. So you're managing a truck, but when you're talking with the customer, you're talking about the product. So this is really important from them, and this is why the items are tracked in OTM in some way. And finally, maybe some smart tool for the small to medium 4PLs may help. You know, I put here some examples. For instance, the stackability as a simple concept. Sometimes I don't need to do a 3D load configuration because I just need to know how many pallets I can load on the system, and this cannot be done with the equipment reference unit, unfortunately, because I tried. Okay, so because you cannot know the stackability, so it is really difficult. An easier carrier integration, but also not only with the carrier, but also with the customer, may be appreciated. The Oracle Business Network may be a solution for that. And finally, from some doc scheduling UX improvements on the doc scheduling Gantt will be fine. You should imagine that Francesco has operators which works all the day on the doc scheduling to take the performance, and I experience with them that sometimes working on the doc scheduling Gantt is a little bit frustrated navigating among the slots. Okay, so we are in the end. Some question?